What's up guys, AD here back with another Destiny Child video here on the channel. And before we get started, everyone make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as make sure to subscribe to the channel, and feel free to check out channel memberships down below as well if you're interested in supporting the channel further. But anyways everyone, with all of that out of the way, in today's video we are going to be overviewing the best options for the raid boss child select box here from the On Cloud 9 Ragnarok event. So yesterday we did overview the 2021 child select box, so if you guys are interested in that video, I'll be sure to have it linked in the description box below, as well as on the top right hand card of this video screen. If any of you do happen to need that video, we did post it yesterday overviewing the best options from that selection box for the beginner players, so definitely make sure to check it out. Now in today's video I did want to overview this box, as we do have a ton of boss childs from previous Ragnarok events, as well as the current Ragnarok in Anemone. So I'll be telling you all the best options here, and we'll be starting out right now with the current boss being Anemone. So this water type supporter here, as you can see, this is the boss unit. She did receive a skill revision, so she actually did get a very strong, and we'll check out her skills here. As well, as you can see on screen, we do have the base skills here for Anemone, and the tap skill dealing 387 damage, healing 382 HP for 2 allies lowest HP, and grants nullified debuffs canceled after 10 seconds or upon receiving 1 debuff attacks to 2 allies, priority debuffed. And the slide skill here dealing 660 damage, grants skill gauge charge amounts plus 36.5% and attack plus 26% for 14 seconds, and invincible, ignores all attacks and debuffs removed after 16 seconds or when attacked 1 time to 2 allies, highest attack. As well as the drive skill here dealing 1733 damage to 3 random enemies, healing 1432 HP for 2 allies, priority lowest HP, skill gauge charge speed plus 45% for 2 allies, priority highest attack for 20 seconds. So this unit here did get far better compared to her previous tap and slide skill. She does happen to have nullified debuffs on the tap skill, which is amazing, as she can just constantly nullify, of course, debuffs over and over from her tap skill alone, as well as healing 2 allies. As for the slide skill here, it got way better, as of course she does have skill gauge charge amounts as well as attack plus on the slide now, and invincible, which is massive since she can apply this to 2 allies, which will in return grant them the ability to ignore all attacks and debuffs for 16 seconds or when attacked 1 time. And the ignition here for Anemone does scale her very well, so overall an amazing unit. I would definitely recommend you all to choose this character from the raid boss select box if you guys don't happen to have her already. The ignition as well as the base skill set is very good overall. You can see here, based on her ignited status, her tap skill does scale to 3 allies here for up to 20 seconds here when granting the nullified debuffs or upon receiving 1 debuff attack. And for the slide skill here, it does scale to 3 allies yet again, with the skill gauge charge amount and the attack plus lasting for 2 turns, and the invincible lasting up to 16 seconds or when attacked 2 times to 2 allies. So a very strong unit here after her skill revision. Definitely make sure to check her out. She is very flexible compared to all of the other units. She can be ran in PvP and PvE, and will probably be used in some events that do require her. So with Anemone being the top priority of this box, we do actually have some additional options here for the PvP side of the game. So if you guys are interested in obtaining some units for the Devil Rumble, we do have some units such as the newly skill revised Isolde. As you can see here, Isolde did receive a buff alongside Anemone, so she is very amazing now. As you can see, she does have a drastically long slide skill here, but we'll go through it fairly quickly here. As for the tap skill, we do have dealing 387 damage to 1 random enemy, a 60% chance to inflict freeze, skill gauge charge amounts decreased and increased damage for DOT debuffs for 8 seconds. In PvP, skill gauge minus 17% for 1 enemy. For the slide skill here, standing concert, dealing 645 damage to 2 enemies, highest attack, skill gauge charge speed minus 20% for 14 seconds, and inflict water balloon, dealing 300 bonus damage upon being attacked, removed, and skill gauge reset after 10 seconds or upon taking 2 attacks. In PvP, inflict skill gauge blast, 400 bonus damage in proportion to skill gauge, and skill gauge reset to 2 enemies, highest attack. So a very long but very strong slide skill here for Isolde, and she does get way better with ignition. As for the drive skill here, we do have raging spike, dealing 1900 93 damage to 3 enemies, priority healers, a 90% chance to inflict freeze, skill gauge charge amounts decreased, and increased damage for DOT debuffs for 16 seconds, and skill gauge charge amounts minus 35% for 16 seconds. So a very amazing draft skill here as well. And of course, what we can gather from her skill set, she is very strong in PvP. As you can see on the tab skills, she does have a 60% chance to inflict freeze, which is very amazing, as well as in PvP, skill gauge minus 17% for 1 enemy. The slide skill here is honestly the best skill overall, as she does have skill gauge charge speed minus, as well as water balloon, which is a very strong debuff here on the slide skill, alongside inflicting skill gauge blast, which will slow down the enemy team a ton. As for the changes in the ignited skill set, as you can see, we do have an 87.8% at +6 status to inflict freeze on the tap skill for 10 seconds long, as well as in PvP, skill gauge minus 40.8% for 2 enemies. As for the slide skill here, we do have the skill gauge charge speed minus 47.8%, which is huge, as it's nearly 50% minus here on the slide skill, as well as the water balloon does scale at +6 status to 1700 bonus damage upon being fully ignited. The skill gauge will reset after 10 seconds, or now after upon taking 2 attacks. And in PvP, the skill gauge blast does scale to 1005 damage in proportion to the skill gauge, and skill gauge reset to 3 enemies. So a very strong change here for Isolde, and overall she is very amazing when ignited. Definitely a great investment overall. If you previous players do have her invested, this unit is very strong now alongside the unit Anemone, and will do very well against the monotype fire teams in the Devil Rumble. So definitely make sure to pick her up if you guys are lacking PvP units, as she will be a great unit for your team. Next up here, everyone, after Isolde, we do have the 5-star fire type healer in Bespoke Laufey. Now, if you guys don't happen to pick her from the Lisa's Extra Lessons, you can gather her up here from the raid boss select boxes. And Laufey is of course very amazing alongside fire type units here. She is a healer, but she is very strong, as she does allow the fire type units to excel very well in the endless duel. She's amazing for the front row of the endless duel, as well as in PvP. She is just amazing alongside a unit like Maupin, and just does her job amazingly. As of course here on the slide skill, she does have lifelink, which is massive. She does have converts 20% of damage taken to recovery for 2 allies. And on the tap skill here, she also does have barrier for 2 allies, prioritizing the lowest HP, and the drive skill here granting barrier as well. As you can see, plus 2500 damage from all enemy attacks, as well as granting lifelink yet again to 3 allies, lowest HP for 20 seconds long. So a very strong skill set here for Laufey. And of course, once she is ignited, it just gets even better. The lifelink does scale on the slide skill to 55.5% upon being fully ignited, as well as the barrier scaling on the drive skill to plus 2500 HP for 20 seconds long. The lifelink does last on the drive skill now, and the tap skill barrier does absorb plus 1800 damage to 3 allies for 12 seconds long. So another great option here for the PvP side of the game. You'll be very happy with this unit in the endless duel, as well as in the Devil Rumble. Now you'll just want to make sure in the Devil Rumble to surround her with other fire type allies. And if you guys do want examples of the fire type teams, make sure to check out the leaderboards in the Devil Rumble, as you'll see many of them floating around. As for the final recommendations I do have for you all, everyone, I will go through these fairly quickly, but we do have the fire type debuffer in Ragaraja. This unit was the previous Ragnar Break event boss unit, but she is very good, and you can't substitute her in the fire type team composition for a unit like Nautilus if you don't happen to have her. She does happen to have, as you can see on her skill set, the slide skill here does have smite, which is amazing, as it does stun and skill damage defense minus 15%, as well as she does have damage over time plus 100 on the base rank slide skill, and she does prioritize the attacker enemies here on the slide, which is amazing. As for the tap skill, she does have debuff duration plus, so she can be used in the world boss, but you won't be seeing her too often, as tap skills don't really work too well in the world boss. But just in case you are a newer player, she can definitely be used there if you are lacking units. And the drive skill here does have smite, and happens to remove 1 buff as well. So a very strong debuffer here. You can definitely use this character in PvP and in the endless duel if you would like to run her, but for the majority of time you'll definitely be using Nautilus over her. But she's still a great option, definitely for the beginner player players. As for the final option I would suggest from this selection box, everyone, would be the 5-star water type debuffer in Chaser Kubaba. So here she is on screen, and she was actually, of course, another Ragnarok boss unit, as all of these units were. But she's a very decent unit, I suppose, and if you guys do want to run this character, you can in PvP. The other units are typically prioritized from this box, but she's still an okay option. You'll just have to surround her with other debuffers. So that'll pretty much do it for the Raid Boss Child Select Box guide here on the channel. As of course, to overview fairly quickly, my top priority would be the 5-star water type supporter in Midsummer Anemone. After Anemone, I would prioritize some of the PvP units such as Isolde here, as she is very amazing, as she did receive some skill buffs. After Isolde, I would prioritize a units like Laufey. Definitely make sure to pick up Laufey if you don't obtain her from the Lisa's extra lessons. And for the final two options here, we did discuss Ragaraja and of course Chaser Kubaba. So that would be in order from my priority from best to worst. But overall, all of these units are pretty good. But I would just rank Midsummer Anemone, Isolde, and Laufey above the other options we did discuss. But anyways, everyone, that'll pretty much do it for today's Destiny Child guide. Make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet done so and are interested in more videos just like this one here today. And of course, make sure to check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in supporting the channel as well. And you'll be receiving some channel perks and of course some cute emotes for the comments. Now make sure to let me know in the comment section below which units you did select from the Raid Boss Child Select Box, and hopefully this guide did help you out in picking the best of the bunch. But with all of that being said, I'll see you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.